In a recreational or adults-only cannabis dispensary, you can just get all kinds of cannabis, but it doesn't necessarily come with compound information. The law states that it must be third-party lab tested so that there is proof that there's no contamination in it, and that is what got me here to begin with. Contaminated street weed.
Welcome to Season 5 of the Cannabis Truth Podcast. Your host is Honey Smith Walls, author of the new book, Healing Beyond High Cannabis Truth, a gentle, practical guide for elders to learn cannabis fundamentals safely and effectively without overuse or overwhelm. In a world where the FDA has yet to stamp its approval on this ancient natural remedy, Honey Smith Walls bridges the gap between Western healthcare norms, uplifting benefits and relief through gentle cannabis plant therapies. Join this 21st century cannabis shaman, uniquely positioned to assess the green intentions of medical, farming, and business industries in cannabis, and uncover fascinating historical, political, scientific, and spiritual facets of the plant.
Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a happy season. I hope it's joyful and peaceful for you. Today, I want to present a special episode of the Cannabis Truth Podcast. This is a replay of a live presentation that I did at the Holistic Relief Summit. That's a free Facebook group, and I'm the host of it. It's my creation. It's my space. And there, I present speakers in the feminine form to give all kinds of womanly advice. The stuff that maybe you didn't get from your mother or grandmother. Maybe you didn't have a sister or a close friend who could help you with some of these things. And as women, we suffer so much, so needlessly, because we just don't have the tools to understand how to give ourselves and our hearts peace. It starts with breathing. All of these speakers have a beautiful, different perspective on helping you end your suffering. There are many ways to practice daily breathing to relieve yourself of peace. And it's not just about breathing. It's about moving. It's about nutrition. It's about your psyche. It's about the input that's coming into your psyche to mutter around in. It's about a lot of things. It's about the way we live our lives as women on this planet, how we think we should live our lives on this planet, the different cultural beliefs, all sorts of things, that we may or may not want to hang on to. And we certainly want to heal the childhood traumas that we have. So I would like to welcome you to join the Facebook group for free, a feminine space called the Holistic Relief Summit. You'll see me there and lots of other beloved sisters in this business trying to help other women, mentoring, really. I didn't realize how badly we all need a mentor. And sometimes those are people in our family, and sometimes they're people we latch onto in lives, in person, and sometimes they're paid mentors. And I've been utilizing the power of finding women in my own niche, in my own business needs to help me level up my business, level up my life, level up my thoughts and my perspectives. And so Today I present to you an episode of a live talk I gave at the Holistic Relief Summit. It was my very first one. I welcome you there. I welcome you here. Join us now, won't you? I guess I'm just so excited I'm about to jump out of my skin. Welcome to the Holistic Relief Summit and my talk there. If you don't know me, I'm Honey Smith Walls. I'm your host of the Holistic Relief Summit, and I'm just thrilled to be here with you to present these amazing speakers who you've been watching for the last couple of days, or I'm not even sure what day it is, and will continue to enjoy until December 20th when all of those replays for all of that magical, wonderful, womanly 101 juju is still going to be there for you to look at and review and re-feel all of these amazing epiphanies you're going to have while listening to somebody older and wiser than you who is just here to spread that information. You know, it shouldn't be so hard to live on this planet. It just shouldn't be. And I think we can really uplift each other. I feel this movement going on. It's calling me. That's why I'm here now doing this. I'm really trying to present open door opportunities for my tribe, who is very sincerely interested in helping people feel better. My tribe is in the cannabis industry, in the science and medical field of all of it and all that, back in what the compounds are and the cannabinoids and the terpenoids and, and your whole endocannabinoidome thing that's going on. And now who's getting masters and all kinds of, accolades and for going to college, university, who finally have courses in this, serious courses. So while half of our world is still, not even that much, but, while a great much of our world is still in the fog, in the confusion of the undulating legislation of cannabis, the rest of us are trying to, pull you on up with us into the information so that you can feel relief. That's why I can't shut up about it. At 70, I feel so wonderful. And much of it, if not, much of it, I'm just going to say much of it, is due to having cannabis compounds to relieve my body. And if you are an elder still wondering if cannabis is right for you because you fear that THC, that real famous THC high, you can use THC without getting high if you know the alchemy to cannabis. That's all. Just the alchemy to cannabis. And if you can put butter and syrup on a pancake, you can do the alchemy of cannabis. And that's what I'm here to show you and help you understand. So I just gave you a little teeny tiny taste of the politics of cannabis. And when you really know the truth about it, I should start with the history of cannabis, which, just to give you some flavor, has been on the planet always and before us. So you will hear Dr. Anna Schwabi, a scientist who has already spoken on stage to you about the compounds of cannabis. You will hear what she has to say about the history, and she is an amazing teacher of this plant. So don't miss her talk. It's important to understand that this plant has served humans and animals always until the last 100 years of political naughty shenanigans. And so I don't want to waste our time going over all of that because, you know how politicians and legislators and all of that can be. Sorry, got a little viper in here going on. My 5 puppies are all sitting around me, and they've just been given their little treat bones so that they'll be quiet. But doesn't always work. Anyway, it's important to understand that cannabis has been here always and served humans and animals always. And we have just only recently found out that inside of us, we have a receptor system that binds beautifully with cannabinoids and terpenes and all the compounds. And there's hundreds of them in cannabis. And that's why using cannabis is kind of like a shotgun blast inside your system because it can alleviate all kinds of inflammation and aches and pains and anxiety all at once. And it can do a whole lot more. And if you want to talk about the service that cannabis has been to us, let me just say it like this. White guys never would have made it over to this continent without the aid of cannabis because you can't shove a boat across a great big ocean without using rope and sails, both made from cannabis. Hemp, where they make canvas from, and rope, because the hemp side of cannabis, the male side, grows long reeds in it. And the flowers, or the fluorescence, as you'll hear Dr. Anna Schwabe call it, the fluorescence, the inflorescence, is the marijuana where THC grows in much greater ratio. The whole plant has all the complements of compounds in it, though. So even in hemp, you can get a teeny weeny bit of THC. And even in marijuana, you can get a little bit of CBD, which is what grows mostly in hemp. So now you've just had a little taste of science, a little bit of the politics, and some of the history behind cannabis. But that doesn't tell you how to use it, what to choose. Why would you use it? Where would you go? How do you make your first purchase? How do you know? If you're in a recreational state, who do you turn to? Because you don't have to go to a doctor to figure anything out. And if you're in a medical marijuana only state, then you have to go to a medical marijuana doctor to get your state card. And then you will be given access to cannabis dispensaries. Teddy bear, that is not very nice. I wish you would not lose his shit. Sorry about that. So, I got to tell you, after figuring out what was happening with me over my lifetime experience of being a woman and going through just not only life, but the physicalities of life for a woman, which is menopausal. And you're either premenopausal, perimenopausal, menopausal, or postmenopausal. So you are all of that all of your life. You add any other condition to it, like, a disease, or, an ailment, or some kind of, cancer or something. God, it is just not easy to be a woman on this planet. Put a hallelujah or something in the chat if you agree with me. But you know what I think? I think that we can lock arms and share our information more freely for the facts of the experience that we have learned and the expertise of the shamans within us, to give you all a helping hand, to lift you up in our society, to help you feel better so that you do not have to suffer any longer. There are fabulous speakers on this summit who will give you all kinds of holistic wellness tips to feeling better. And when you are consistently reminded of these little PSAs, these public service announcements, I want to call them WSAs, womanly service announcements. When you have a consistent input of womanly service announcements, your life begins to change because you can finally focus on maybe something other idea. Oh, maybe I'll try that. Oh, that felt good. The next day, oh, that felt good. Maybe I'll try it again. Do you see? Breaking the habit of what you have been living in. Friends, I'm talking about the wisdom of thought discipline to help yourselves to understand your own body, because we've been gaslighted about so much. And I'm big on calling the white elephants out in the room. So, I'm just saying, we're here in a feminine space because I have been doing these kind of talks globally now for the past 6 months with my sisters in business who also are becoming event hosts on their own. And we've been together and we have seen the healing happen from the epiphanies that women get from listening to these speakers. It's exciting to know that you're going to come here, find a little relief. You can just totally let your hair down. It is so fucking okay. It is so fucking okay. Here you can be vulnerable. And the speakers and I will show you that. I hope that we'll grow in your trust, because we're not selling anything here except maybe an invitation to come hang out with us a little bit more, and then you can see what we're all about individually. But we are here as an agreement with each other, all the speakers. We're here to help you heal. We're here to help you find that epiphany that changes your mind, that boosts your butt up out of that rut that you've been in, or just gives you the love that you've been needing. Because I have not known the joys of a sisterhood like this until I got involved in a vulnerable way doing this sort of thing. I feel like I'm just here with you. And that's how I always try to present myself. But when I think about it, I know my dear friends in South Africa are watching. I have friends in India who are watching. I have friends in Canada and Mexico who are watching. I have friends all over the world. And we have speakers from around the globe too, who have such different, beautiful perspectives. And that is key to your epiphanies. You know, I say, come for the peace, but stay for the epiphanies. There's so many to be had. And if you can't make it for the live, that's perfectly okay. Put a big R in the comments if you're watching from the replays later. And I love you so much if you're here live with me today. I'm just doing this off my little itty bitty iPhone because, I don't know, it just kind of makes me feel like I'm just here with just you.
Well, hello, I'm Dr. Philip Blair, and I want to introduce you to Honey Smith Walls. And she's a real strong advocate and educator about cannabis. And she recently had an experience with beta-caryophyllene.
And all that day, I mean, I had just one. I just had this silly grin all over my face. Suddenly, colors came back to me. I'm a musician and a creative, and colors are very important to me. They give me such joy, and I didn't realize how they had muted and how colors had just turned uninteresting,
Oh boy.
eye-catching to me. And suddenly, bam, I'm seeing greens and blues and reds and oranges and everything in between, and it was just so uplifting to me. It hello, it made me grateful. Oh,
And
I was out on an errand today and decided to swing into a dispensary. And I'd love to tell you about my experience, if you don't mind. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm an educator in the cannabis industry, and for the past 6 years, I've been podcasting a weekly show that amplifies the discoveries and medical information about the plant cannabis and how people can use that safely and effectively. Okay. And then I wrote a book about it. The name of the podcast is called The Cannabis Truth Podcast. And there's a whole big long story about that name. And it's funny, and I'll tell you someday, remind me. And then I wrote a book about my experiences and what I see happening out in the world right now. And I was, swear to God, on the phone with my book publisher, Rachel Kerr, and she's at Book Baby, by the way, and I love the services that they've got. And so we're going to zip this out the first of the new year, and it, takes about 8 weeks, and I'm pushing the publish button, and boom, bam, bada, bing, here we go. So, name of my book is Healing Beyond High, because I like helping old farts understand how to use this plant without fear and without stigma. But there is so much fear and stigma because of the rolling legislation across the U.S. We don't know if we can or if we can't or if we can or if we can't. Make up your minds. California, I hear, is trying to get rid of the CBD in hemp. What? It's mind-boggling. Anyway, that's more of the politics. Plus the fact that they don't like us in business. They don't want us in business. They try to prevent us from being in business. I've been declined from 2 money services, the one I'm currently using and the one before that who booted me out of their system because I'm in this industry. And I don't even touch the plant as a business. I just talk about it, try to help you understand it and get over the stigma and the fear of it. But that's what the current U.S. business mess is like for those of us who try to make a living in the cannabis industry, and an honest business at that. I can tell you that I've just paid my bookkeeper to help me set up my Cannabiverum LLC, and Cannabiverum is Latin for Cannabis Truth, because down in Florida, you couldn't have a bank account that had cannabis, the word cannabis in it. So I just gave them a Latin name for it. They didn't know any better, and that's what I've been all along. But see how stupid it is? So there's a lot of restrictions still going on across the U.S., and none of us really, it's real hard to keep track of what's going on. But we're trying. And what I really want you to understand are the fundamentals of using this plant safely and effectively and without the high if you don't want it, if you're afraid of falling, which is the number one fear of elders. We get afraid of falling because our balance gets a little fucked up from all of the polypharmacy that we end up taking at 70. You know, we've got thyroid pills and blood pressure pills and cholesterol pills and pills to help us go back to sleep and pills to help us poop and pills to help us wake up more in the morning. And then there's all the vitamins and all the, you know, the supplements. It doesn't end. And the real food that we're eating isn't giving us the nutrition that we need anymore. So if we can help our body function by using a gentle plant therapy, which we have never been allowed to really partake of, they've sort of poo-pooed it for the last 100 years, even though before the last 100 years, that's all we used was plant medicine. Big Pharma came in. Hello. So, and there's more, you know, wider history than that, who is very accusatory towards big corporation, Wagon, the dog, the cannabis dog. So there's all of that. Just Google cannabis history and you will see how rich and marvelous it is and what it has done for us. Guess what? The first settlers here were told that they had to mandatorily grow cannabis so that our first Navy would have the rope and sails necessary to utilize. Hello, First Navy. You know, all my people are Navy. Huzzah. Anyway, I'm just saying the cannabis history is rich and fabulous. So once I began learning about all of the, you know, the wide scope of cannabis and the amazing medicinal values of it, I'll tell you my story, how I got to this place another time. But I wanted to tell you what it was like going into a dispensary today. At my age, you know, in Michigan where it's recreational. And so you don't need anything except a driver's license to go into a recreational dispensary and pick up some whatever you want. And it's really like going into a candy store, and it's got all kinds of, you know, glittery things going on and shiny hoo-ha and lots of this and that. And today I got this, and I thought this was a very cool little bag, and you have to rip open the thing because they seal it when you buy it, right? So that you're not leaving the premises and using anything while you're there. They don't want that because they can't accept any legal responsibility for you whatsoever. They also can't accept credit cards. So take your cash, or they'll make you use an ATM there, which charges you $3 more at least. So there's all that fun little stuff, and I'm still trying to, as an old lady, get into that. That hurts my arthritic hands. I've got neuropathy there, and, you know, arthritis here. But I just do want to tell you, it was a lot of fun going there, and they were really sweet. And what I got is what we call pre-rolls. They're just little individually hand-wrapped joints. See that? And here, I'll open one for you. Let's open this one. I can't read what it says, but it's got a big old pineapple thing on it. Okay, so there you go. That's what I bought. I bought a bunch of these, and because it was my first time at that shop, and the women in there were so fabulous, I really had the best time in a cannabis dispensary in Michigan that I have ever had in the year and a half I've been up here. So I'm just saying thank you to Mint Cannabis and to my bud tender, Natasha, and to, I think her name was Vanessa. I'm not sure. I can't remember. She sent me a little thing, but I haven't had a chance to look at it. Anyway, the manager who was at the store there, very, very receptive because it was my first time. I got a great big huge discount. It was lots of fun. And so they were very helpful, but they couldn't give me the information that I would normally ask in a dispensary down in Florida, because it's a different mindset. In a recreational or adults only cannabis dispensary, you can just get all kinds of cannabis, but it doesn't necessarily come with compound information. The law states that it must be third-party lab tested so that there is proof that there's no contamination in it. And that is what got me here to begin with. Contaminated street weed. While I was out on the Caribbean Ocean for 5 years sailing with my darling spouse, I got smacked upside the head with chronic fatigue, what scientists call myalgic encephalomyelitis. And on top of that, I got a big ol' whopping dose of menopause. Thank you very fucking much. And there just weren't any female doctors talking about menopause for women at 38. They were just kind of slapping me on the knee and saying good luck. Especially, couldn't get to too many doctors on islands. There weren't that many. So it was a few years of suffering on my own about that until we finally came back and a girlfriend said, hey, light up with me. And I was all about that. Thank you, Nora. I love you. And you know what? It resolved so many issues for me instantly. It got rid of that incredible nausea that just turns your stomach at everything and saps your energy. And it got rid of the pain from atrophying muscles, from sitting around not doing anything, because the fatigue has overwhelmed you. And it lifted me from depression of thinking I was never going to be able to come up out of this, because I'd been going through it for days and then a week and then weeks and then months. And I had no idea if I was ever going to be able to lift a fork to my face again. It was terrifying. And this relieved so much of that suffering and pain, only for a couple of hours, because I was just smoking it. And if you use it in a different way, if you eat it or use a tincture, or, well, more science about that soon. Anyway, you can lengthen the time of effectiveness depending on how you use it. See, you gotta know this stuff. Cannabis factoids. Put a C in the comments if you want to learn more. Cannabis factoids. Because I'm here to tell you, friends, in 1992, a scientist in Israel named Raphael Meshulam discovered that we have that endocannabinoid system of receptors in our body that binds with the compounds in cannabis. And that's why it's so effective for humans and animals. Because they also found out that there was a slug at the bottom of the ocean that even has an endocannabinoid system of sorts. And so what that means is that it's been with us always, because I can guarantee you that slug at the bottom of the ocean has never seen the light of day or a cannabis joint. So I'm just saying, there's all kinds of new things to consider and discover about helping yourself find a way out of suffering. And now, cannabis might not be right for everybody. I'm not saying it is, but it sure as hell is an amazing plant if you can figure out how to get the right product and use it the right way, at the right amount, and at the right times of day. See, there's all that little formula to figure into. And so put an F in the comments for me if you get that there is a formula to using cannabis safely and effectively. Did you hear me mention before that the cannabis needs to be third-party lab tested? always. Please don't buy street weed anymore. It was the contamination in street weed that damn near killed me. I had one foot in the grave and the other one heading for a wheelchair because I had no energy. I'd stopped driving. I'd stopped going to my band rehearsals, and I'd been a band leader for at least 10 years by that point. And I was the leader, and I had to stop going to band practice. We weren't doing any gigs, of course. I didn't have the energy, and they didn't want to do it without me. God love them. I didn't have the energy to practice music at home, and it was my passion. And so, it robbed me from going out every day in the car, from the exercise of moving every day. It robbed me from feeding myself, my husband, or my animals. It robbed me from dancing. It robbed me from happiness. It robbed me. And soon, it just looked so desperate. My life just looked and felt so desperate. I didn't know how the hell I was going to lift up out of it. But I did know one thing. That serendipity, puff with my girlfriend, Nora, sure made me feel better for a couple hours. And then I had to know why. And I got to tell you, I'd never been a researcher of any kind before that. Not really. Nothing ever called me to research it like this does. I want you to know that there are cannabinoid compounds in cannabis, and there are terpenes in cannabis too, terpenoids. And terpenes are what you smell and taste in everything you eat and drink and smell, odor. And they each have their own medicinal compounds and effects. And so it's really terpenes like beta-caryophyllene, which is what this is. It's really terpenes that decide your cannabis ride. So you're going to want to know which terpenes that you're going to want to buy in which cannabis. And if this cannabis has more of this terpene in it, it's going to be better for me. See what I'm getting at? You need to learn just a few cannabis fundamentals and a few cannabifactoids, and the formula to like spreading butter and syrup on pancakes. It's just that easy. And then you too, darlings, can make yourself feel better. If you're in a state or in a frame of mind that you cannot use THC, you can still use all kinds of terpenes that do not have cannabis in it. So, and hemp is safe and effective, and in all 50 states can be delivered right to your door. So there are ways of understanding this plant, but you need a helping hand. And if you understand how great it made me feel and how I can wiggle around and enjoy my autonomy and my life and my decisions with a clear mind, I can tame this neuropathic pain in my fingers. I can tame this arthritis. I can tame my anxiety. I had no idea my anxiety was so high. I had no idea. And then I began hanging out with women smarter than me. And they were so precious. They were just so precious to help me. And that's why we're here today. That's why I created the Holistic Relief Summit. So you too, come join the sisterhood. Come help us lift other women. Come help them understand your journey so they can benefit from your experience. And this is a place you can find lots of support and lots of nurturing and fabulous inspiration. Put an I in the chat for inspiration, because I'm here to tell you, you will find all kinds of energy and inspiration and new ideas and lovely emotions from hanging out with all of us. I'm going to let you go for now, but it's been my honor to be here today. Oh, my glory. Dr. Kelly Heffron is coming on later this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you don't get to her live, catch her on the replays. Put an R in the comments for replays. And I almost forgot. I want to give you a little something to help you along your cannabis journey. Whether it's the first time you've ever been to a dispensary or the umpty-umpth time, if you're an old hat at it, I'd love to give you the Cannabis Recovery Kit. It's a free PDF printout even. If you want to print it out, you don't have to. And you blow it up better on the computer and look at it. But go to healingbeyondhigh.com. Yes, you've heard that name before. It's the name of my new book coming out in 2025, healingbeyondhigh.com. And claim your free gift today, won't you? The Cannabis Recovery Kit. You know what it's going to show you? Looky here. I've got one going on. I'm just going to lift it up and show you what it looks like. It's just filled with all kinds of goodies that'll help me get over my typical aches and pains of being a woman. Oops, sorry, camera. Being a woman on this planet. You know, the kind that you don't really need a doctor dance for. Typical bumps and bruises and aches and pains. So go claim your free Cannabis Recovery Kit. Go take a look at that PDF and see if it doesn't save you hundreds of dollars. I want to tell you, the first time I went to a medical marijuana dispensary down in Florida, it took me an hour to get there because that was the closest one to me. And I spent over $500 because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I wanted to try everything. And I didn't even have the tools to try some of that stuff that I bought. I bought dab. Y'all know what dab is? Oh my God. It's one of the most concentrated forms of cannabis on the planet. And you need a special tool for it really. And what did I know? And then I bought all kinds of tinctures that were way too powerful for me, and they were alcohol-based and tasted like acid burning my tongue. I didn't know what to do with them, and I hated the flavor and didn't want to take it and didn't know that you could get tinctures that were oil-based that don't taste so bad. Anyway, if you've ever had an edible and been knocked on your ass, put an E in the comments and let me know. I want to talk to you about it and help you learn not to have that happen again. But there are all kinds of beautiful, safe products that you can find for your first time or even your 10th. It'll help you kind of decipher a lot of stuff and give you a little bit of fundamental cannabis factoid thing going on. So please enjoy it. Gosh, I bet I've gone over my time, but I'm sending love to all of you. I appreciate you being here so much. And this is so fun. Please share all of the speakers. Comment to everybody that you love. Thank you for watching the replays, and do come back tomorrow. And tonight too, listen to Dr. Kelly Heffron and all of the speakers. Oh my glory. Oh, I can't even, while I've got you, let me thank some of the speakers. Trina Fleming, Connie Lape, Angie Hartzell, Sue Bradley, Dr. Tanya English. Oh my goodness, Mary Branch, Megan Holleran, Sharda Devi. Oh my goodness, Pat Bozeman, Anna Schwabe, and there's more coming. I'm sorry, my notes just ran out and I have to go get another notebook because my notes just ran out. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. This is Honey Smith Walls. I just love you so much. Tulu.
You've been listening to another Cannabis Truth podcast with 21st century cannabis shaman Honey Smith Walls. It is important to use verifiably safe products and look out for yourself while we're in this wild, wild west of cannabis right now. Ask for help. It can get complicated. If you need serious medical attention, please consult one of the specialists at cannabisclinicians.org. They will get you to the right person and therapy for your issues. Tune in here for weekly foundational knowledge and learn to determine the best choices and cannabis strategies for your issues. But please be advised that shamans are not doctors or scientists. You'll find those at cannabisclinicians.org. Unless otherwise proven by a reputable third-party lab test, please regard all street weed as contaminated. It may do grave harm to a patient with a delicate immune system who already has inflammatory issues like arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia, or worse. Thank you for your time today.